English Easy Podcast.
Hello, learners. Welcome back to English Easy Podcast, your partner to learning English. So, picture this scenario. You are standing by the office coffee machine on Monday morning.
Oh, I already know where this is going. The classic Monday trap.
Right. Your coworker walks up, smiles, and asks the ultimate universal question. They say, "How was your weekend?" And suddenly your brain just completely flatlines.
It is like you forget you even existed for the past 48 hours.
Exactly. You know you were alive, but you cannot recall a single detail of your own life. So you start frantically scrolling through the photo gallery on your phone, just desperate to prove to yourself that you actually did something.
And all you find is what? A blurry photo of a street lamp? Maybe a screenshot of a recipe you definitely did not cook?
Yes, that is always what happens. So in this state of sheer panic, you deploy the absolute deadliest, most conversation-killing word in the English language. You look at your coworker and say, "It was fine."
Ugh, the dreaded fine. I mean, it is such a protective shield for intermediate English learners. But honestly, native speakers use it as a crutch all the time, too.
Yeah, it just shuts down the conversation completely.
It does, because, constructing a real narrative on the spot feels incredibly daunting. You don't want to overshare, but you also don't want to sound like a weird robot reciting a script.
Well, today, our mission for this deep dive is to break that exact habit. We're stripping away all the textbook formalities and looking at the actual vocabulary, rhythms, and strategies people use in real life.
Right, because we want you to stop relying on fine without feeling this intense pressure to recite a massive, detailed novel to a stranger.
Totally. But to get there, we first need to look at the psychology of the weekend. Based on real conversational patterns, society essentially splits into two distinct lifestyle tribes the second Friday hits 5 p.m.
The divide is honestly incredibly sharp. So the first group is what we might call the stay-at-home team.
Ah, my personal favorite.
I figured this is the indoor lifestyle, and it's built entirely around sensory reduction. I mean, after a loud, chaotic work week, their primary goal is just a low-friction environment.
Yeah, the aesthetic of this tribe is very specific. We are talking thick blankets, dimmed lights, drawn curtains.
Exactly. And a successful movie night for this group.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean sitting perfectly still.
Yeah.
It means the night ends with crumbs on the rug, bowls stacked on the coffee table, and cushions just thrown everywhere.
It is a highly curated, comfortable mess. I completely see the appeal of that sensory reduction. You are basically building a cozy fortress against the outside world.
You really are.
But then, you look out the window of that fortress and you see the second tribe, the Let's Go team. This is the outdoor, high-momentum lifestyle.
So the weekend warriors.
Right. These are the people whose weekends begin with a casual group chat message that immediately devolves into chaotic, multi-location logistics.
Someone suggests coffee, and then someone else pivots to a 3-hour hike.
And before you know it, 12 people are trying to coordinate parking at a beach 50 miles away.
It's wild. But that high-momentum lifestyle operates on an entirely different biological premise. They return home on Sunday night, physically depleted, sometimes so exhausted they can barely unlock their own front doors.
But emotionally, they're completely full.
Right. Exactly. They're socially and emotionally overflowing. They actually thrive on the friction that the stay-at-home tribe actively runs away from.
I have to challenge the reality of that let's go lifestyle, though. When we observe these people, I continually wonder if they are genuinely having more fun or if they are simply auditioning for the Best Weekend of the Year award.
That is such a fascinating point. The performative weekend.
Yeah. It feels like there is this heavy, almost invisible pressure to perform your weekend for an audience. Like if you didn't climb a mountain or discover a hidden pop-up restaurant, did your weekend even happen?
Well, that observation really hits on a major shift in how we process leisure time. The pressure to have an interesting weekend is fueled heavily by how easily we can broadcast our lives now.
Social media definitely makes it worse.
For sure. And it often pushes naturally introverted people into that let's go camp. Biologically, introverts conserve energy in quiet, predictable environments. Extroverts gain emotional dopamine from novelty and unpredictability.
So when an introvert tries to keep up with an extrovert's weekend,
It's a disaster. When someone whose internal battery is flashing red forces themselves onto a spontaneous road trip just to have a good story for Monday morning, they aren't actually resting.
no, they're essentially working a second job as their own public relations manager.
Exactly. Which makes Monday morning even worse, because now you are just completely exhausted from your weekend performance.
And this brings us to a massive hurdle for anyone listening right now. I mean, you are already balancing a demanding job, you are actively studying English, and you are trying to maintain personal relationships.
It is a lot to juggle.
It really is. Finding the line between getting necessary things done and actually resting feels like a puzzle with missing pieces.
It is a profound logistical challenge. But there's a recurring concept in time management discussions that addresses this directly. It's the idea of being kind to your future self.
I love that phrase. It sounds like a bumper sticker, but it's actually really profound.
It really is.
Yeah.
And plays out through two very different scheduling strategies.
Yeah.
So let's look at strategy A first, which is the homebody approach.
Oh, I know strategy A intimately because I try and usually fail to execute it. This is the tactic where you front load your pain.
Yes. You spend your precious Saturday afternoon doing incredibly unglamorous grown-up tasks.
Right. You do the laundry, you go to the crowded grocery store, you meal prep for Tuesday. You are essentially throwing away the best hours of your weekend.
Well, you are throwing them away, but you are buying something highly valuable in return. By sacrificing that Saturday afternoon, you create a Sunday that is entirely devoid of obligation.
You clear the mental slate.
Precisely. The psychology behind this is fascinating because humans are naturally terrible at temporal discounting. We usually prefer small, immediate fun over delayed, larger rewards.
So choosing to do chores when you could be relaxing requires actively fighting human nature.
It really does. But then let's compare that to strategy B.
Ah, the adventure approach. This one leans entirely into immediate gratification. You wake up on Saturday, the sun is shining, and you just ignore the laundry.
You go to a festival, you meet up with friends, you prioritize the fun.
But the tax for that fun comes due on Sunday evening. The chores didn't magically disappear. Now you are standing in your kitchen at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, your energy is non-existent, and you are just dreading Monday.
It's the Sunday night blues.
Yeah, it reminds me of a ticking clock. Or actually, it's like carrying a heavy umbrella around all weekend because you know it's going to rain on Monday morning. You might be sitting in the sunshine, but your hand is cramped from holding the umbrella. You can never fully relax.
Oh, that umbrella analogy perfectly captures the mechanism of background anxiety. When you leave the heavy lifting for Sunday, those pending chores just hover in your subconscious.
They really do.
Doing grown-up things on purpose early in the weekend is the most reliable way to secure what many call a soft Sunday.
A soft Sunday, a day where the pressure is entirely removed and you are allowed to just breathe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, to talk about these concepts effectively in a natural conversation, we really need to move away from textbook translations. We need to look at the actual vocabulary native speakers use to describe these exact scenarios.
Right, you don't need a massive dictionary. You just need a few highly effective phrases that carry a lot of cultural context.
Let's start with a really common one.
Yes, I want to highlight the phrase run errands. I mentioned the pain of Saturday chores earlier, and this is the phrase that encompasses all of it.
Run errands is an essential piece of vocabulary. An errand is just a short trip taken to complete a specific task, usually for life maintenance.
Like going to the post office, picking up a prescription, or returning a borrowed tool to a neighbor.
Right. And it sounds so much more capable and natural than saying, I went out to do my obligations.
Nobody says that. Okay, let's do a quick pronunciation practice. Try saying it out loud right now, wherever you are listening from. Notice how native speakers don't pronounce the two words separately.
We definitely don't. We don't say run errands.
No, we slur the consonant into the vowel, so it sounds more like one continuous word. Runner ands. Try that with us. Runner ands.
Runner and.
That linkage is the secret to sounding completely natural. So when you spend 5 hours running errands in heavy traffic, you aren't just tired, you are something much more specific.
You are wiped.
Wiped. I love this word.
It is a brilliant alternative to the basic word tired. Think about the visceral imagery of a windshield wiper on a car in a heavy rainstorm. It sweeps across the glass, clearing absolutely everything away, leaving nothing behind.
Wow.
So when you say, I'm wiped, you are communicating that every last drop of your physical and mental energy has been completely cleared out. It is a total depletion.
That imagery makes it so much easier to remember. Okay, let's look at another phrase we hear all the time for the stay-at-home tribe. Low key. If I say my weekend was low key, I'm setting an immediate boundary around expectations.
Precisely. Low key tells the listener that the events were calm, unassuming, and completely lacked intensity.
It wasn't a massive party, it was dinner on the couch in sweatpants.
And usually a low-key weekend is used to catch up on things. When you catch up on something, imagine you were in a race, but you fell behind the rest of the runners. You have to sprint just to get back to the normal starting line.
Right, you can catch up on sleep, catch up on emails, or even catch up on your favorite television show.
Now, let's shift to the Let's Go tribe. They operate differently. They do things on a whim.
On a whim. I really love the sound of that phrase. A whim sounds light, like a feather blowing in the wind.
It really does. When you do something on a whim, there is zero premeditation. Your brain simply says, let's go, and you move.
And if that sudden, unplanned decision involves driving somewhere, you will hear people say they decided to hit the road.
Yes, it is a highly idiomatic dynamic phrase.
Yeah.
You aren't just starting a journey. The word hit implies sudden, decisive action. You are attacking the journey.
And often, this happens because someone in the group is persuasive, meaning they possess the specific social skill of making their spontaneous ideas sound so incredibly logical that you find yourself agreeing before you even realize what you were saying yes to.
We all have that one persuasive friend.
Oh, for sure. Okay, listeners, let's put your intuition to the test for a second. I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to guess which of these phrases fits best.
All right, a little pop quiz. Let's do it.
Imagine you are sitting at home on a Saturday morning. You have no plans. Suddenly, your friend calls and says, let's drive 3 hours to the coast and eat seafood. You grab your coat, jump in the car, and leave. Did you do this to run errands, or did you do it on a whim?
Take a second to feel the context of the situation.
If you guessed on a whim, your instincts are incredibly sharp. Running errands implies duty and necessity. Driving 3 hours for seafood because the thought suddenly entered your mind is the definition of pure, unplanned spontaneity.
Nailed it. Now that we have established this vocabulary, we can push into an advanced challenge.
Ooh, I like a challenge.
Well, the nuance of the English language allows us to move far beyond simply describing our physical state. We can pinpoint highly complex emotional states that occur during our time off.
Right, like moving way beyond just saying good or tired.
Exactly. For instance, the experience of nostalgia.
Nostalgia is usually described as just missing the past, right? But the real-world usage we see is much heavier than that.
Yes, it is. There's a concept I came across recently that described nostalgia as having big feelings on a small hill.
Okay, picture this. You are out with old friends, sitting on the hood of a car in a parking lot you used to hang out in 10 years ago. The air is slightly cool, an old song is playing through the car windows, and suddenly the immense weight of the realization that you have all grown up just hits your chest.
It isn't just a happy memory, is it?
No, it is a complex blend of joy, loss, and the unyielding passage of time.
And that blend of emotions is what elevates conversational English. The same precision applies to how we describe exhaustion. We talked about being wiped earlier, but there's a vital distinction between a good tired and being socially wiped.
Ah, I feel that distinction in my bones. Good tired is what you feel after a day of building furniture, or maybe playing a messy, chaotic game of soccer in the mud.
Your muscles ache, your eyes are heavy, but your mind is incredibly quiet and satisfied.
It feels like an accomplishment.
Yes. Contrast that with the sensation of being socially wiped. This is that hollow, ringing fatigue you experience after attending a crowded networking event or a loud party with way too many overlapping conversations.
Where you have to shout over the music just to be heard.
Right. Your body hasn't done any physical labor, but your brain has been processing hundreds of microexpressions, maintaining eye contact, and navigating small talk for hours.
When you get home from that, you don't just want sleep, you want absolute silence. You need a dark room just to recalibrate your nervous system.
Exactly. But, the emotional nuance I find most fascinating involves the phrase, making the most of it.
Oh, we usually hear this when a plan completely falls apart.
We do. And there is an incredible scenario that illustrates this perfectly. Imagine waking up on a Sunday morning. You have a meticulous plan for a soft, relaxing day.
You've done your chores on Saturday, you're ready.
You're ready. So you step outside onto your front porch just to pick up a package, and behind you, the heavy metal door clicks shut.
Oh, no.
You reach into your pocket. No keys, no phone. You are completely locked out of your own life.
It is the ultimate domestic disaster. The immediate reaction is, 10 seconds of sheer panic? Your heart rate spikes.
But the fascinating part of this scenario, and the very essence of making the most of it, is the bizarre Zen-like calmness that washes over the person once the reality sets in.
Yes. Why does reaching that absolute worst-case scenario suddenly make us feel so incredibly free? It seems entirely backwards.
It's because it's a profound shift in the psychology of control. Think about it. When you are inside the house, executing your perfectly planned Sunday, you are carrying the cognitive burden of managing time.
You are the director of the play, constantly ensuring everything runs smoothly.
Precisely. But the moment that door clicks lock, you are violently stripped of all control. The worst thing has already happened. The plan is dead.
And paradoxically, because there is no longer a plan to protect, the pressure completely evaporates.
You are forced into a state of surrender. The burden of control is lifted, leaving you free to just sit on the porch step, look at the trees, and truly make the most of the absurdity of the situation.
That is deeply philosophical for a lost set of keys, but it is incredibly accurate, the relief of surrender.
It really is.
So we understand the psychology, we have the advanced vocabulary, and we grasp the emotional nuance. How do we synthesize all of this into real-world application when Monday morning actually arrives?
Well, the biggest conversational trap learners fall into is believing that answering the question, "How was your weekend?" requires a chronological timeline.
Right, they start at Friday evening and painstakingly list every meal and every hour.
You do not need to share a 20-minute novel about getting coffee. The most engaging communicators do something very simple. They provide one single, highly specific snapshot of their life.
A snapshot. Just one frame from the movie of your weekend.
Exactly.
Let's simulate exactly how this sounds. We are going to model a brief conversation right now. I want you listening to notice how we exchange updates using the vocabulary we've discussed without oversharing, and notice the rhythm of the interaction.
Sounds good. Let's imagine you and I are standing by that office coffee machine.
I will initiate. Hey, I feel like I haven't seen you in ages. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was incredibly low-key, honestly. I decided to run a bunch of errands on Saturday afternoon just so I could clear the decks and have a completely soft Sunday. Best decision I made all week. How about your side?
See, I need to learn your discipline. I went the complete opposite direction. A friend of mine is dangerously persuasive, so we ended up hitting the road on a whim for a day trip up the coast. It was brilliant, but I am absolutely wiped today.
Oh, I can imagine the fatigue. Well, hopefully you can catch up on some proper rest tonight.
Okay, let's pause right there and break down why that worked. It wasn't just a boring list of events.
Exactly. I gave you one snapshot, my strategic choice to run errands for a soft Sunday, and then I immediately bounced the conversational ball back into your court.
It was a complete thought, but it naturally invited a response.
And your response used the vocabulary to paint a picture. You didn't tell me what kind of car you drove or what you ate at the coast.
No, I gave you the emotional truth of the weekend. Spontaneous fun, followed by being completely wiped. It felt genuine, but it respected both of our time constraints before a Monday meeting.
Which is key. To tie this all together, the core takeaway from our deep dive today is that whether your weekend involved getting lost on a road trip, staring at judgmental cows on a rural farm, or simply staying inside and meticulously ironing clothes and organizing your kitchen cabinets.
The goal of Monday morning small talk is never to sound like an action movie star.
Never.
The goal is simply to offer a genuine piece of your humanity. The vocabulary tools we have explored today, from understanding the weight of being wiped to finding the freedom in making the most of it, are not just grammar rules.
No, they are the actual paints you use to color that authentic picture of your life.
And now it is time for you, the listener, to take ownership of this. Look at your own habits and claim your tribe.
Ask yourself, are you fundamentally on the stay-at-home team, seeking that sensory reduction? Or do you belong to the high-momentum, let's-go team?
Acknowledge how you actually recharge rather than how you think you are supposed to.
More importantly, the next time someone asks you about your weekend, do not let your brain flatline. Reject the word fine.
Seriously, banish it from your vocabulary. Take a breath. Pick one specific snapshot from your past 48 hours and try weaving just one of these new phrases into your answer.
It might feel slightly unfamiliar at first, but that is exactly how you build the muscle memory of fluency.
Every time you choose to share a small, authentic detail rather than a generic brush-off, you are bridging a gap. You are building a real connection through language.
That is beautifully said.
Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a lingering thought to carry with you this week. We spend so much energy figuring out how to tell other people about our days off.
We really do.
But when we stand by that coffee machine and craft these stories, are we genuinely just describing what happened? Or are we, on a subconscious level, secretly trying to convince ourselves that we didn't waste our precious time?
Wow. That is the kind of question that will keep you staring at the ceiling on a Sunday night.
It absolutely will. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep observing the native speakers around you, keep sharing your authentic snapshots, and keep making the most of your English journey. We will see you next time.